Today we're going to be learning the D tune Valley Forge. One unique thing in this tune to watch for is there's some accidental notes. Typically in the key of D, you're going to have two sharps, your F sharp note and your C sharp note. But in this particular tune, we're also going to have some C naturals. So that second finger is going to slide down to be a low second finger on the A string. This is a three-part tune, so starting off with our A part and our first phrase. Just those three notes again. That was F sharp, D, C natural. F sharp, D, C, D, C, B, A, B. And that's a slur. So I'm doing that on one bow stroke. Or you can separate the last note as it starts to come up again. From the beginning. And one more. Piece, and that's going to kind of complete this musical thought. This last piece, oh wait, there it is. So it's similar to what we just played, starting on a C note. That again. Now let's put all of that together. That's kind of this first phrase, this first musical thought. And then we're going to have two different endings, so this is going to complete in two different ways. Let's go ahead and practice just that much two more times though. Now our first ending that we're going to come to, we'll repeat the A. And we're doing this really fun run up the A string. So it's just every note on the A scale, A, B, C sharp, and D. Notice we are back to a C sharp rather than C natural. And when you hit that D, you're going to repeat the D note. One slur, and a separate bow. And that's our first ending here. So let's see if we can play that first phrase with its first ending. I think that's this whole A part especially, it makes a lot more sense when it's put together. than in its small segments. So we'll do that 2 more times for practice. One more. We're now halfway through our A part. The second half of the A part is going to be an exact repeat of what we were calling that first phrase, the first musical thought. And then instead of going to the ending that we used before, our new ending is simply going to be that again. That's G, F sharp, D, D. So let's try and play that second half of our A part where we have original musical thought and our second ending. We'll do that 2 more times for practice, maybe a little slower. A part together. In this tune, it'll be A part, so we're going to go ahead and practice playing it twice through in a row. Melody down, let's talk a little bit about some drones, some double stops, things we can add into this. To begin with, I like to start with an open A drone, and then I build on that note. I've left my first finger down. All I have to do is add my third finger there on the D string, on the A string, and that gives me a D chord. So that's a lazy double stop. I like to think of it because one of the fingers is already in place. So you really only have to add one finger to create the double stop. So from that point, through the first half of our A part, we're going to be able to use open drones. We have that unique C natural. So we're changing up what we would normally do for droning. In the key of D, typically open D is the note that we're looking for, but we don't want to put D and C sharp together. D and C natural. It's an interesting sound, not the one we're looking for right now, but when you use your open E against that note, a little more pleasant. So you can use that E as much or as little as you like during the second half there of this first phrase. And then as I do this scale up, I come off of the E string because I want to land with that D as my main power note at the end. Just on that second D strike, I kind of lean into my open D. So that first half of the A part. And then our second half, same rules apply. And as we go into that second ending there and our notes switch over to the D string, I'm just droning my open A string. Like so. All right, one more time through the whole A part with drones and double stops. One more thing before we go on. Lovely place to put a slide there on the F sharp note. So I just scoop my finger back to an F natural and slowly slide it up, one bow stroke, to the F sharp. Now we're ready to take a look at our B part of this tune. That's going to be our phrase 1. Kind of long phrases in this tune. So phrase 1 again. That's F sharp, E D, D E, F sharp, E, F sharp, G, A, A. That again. My bowing kind of varies here depending on the tempo that I'm playing at. At this tempo, what I'm doing is long, slur, 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 separate, separate, like that. So one more time, phrase 1. And in this phrase 1, you have the opportunity for some embellishments. If you like, you can play it very straight, as I showed you there, or you can slide into the F sharp, kind of mimicking what we had done on the E string. Or you could do a hammer on there. To achieve that hammer-on sound, I'm playing E and then F sharp, just plopping that finger down on the string while doing a slur, so that's one bow stroke. Enough of that though, on to phrase 2. So it starts off similar to phrase 1. Again. That's F sharp, E, D, F sharp, D, E, D, C, C. So we're back to that C natural sound that we had in the A part. And just to note, on the G string, your C natural is right here. It's where our third finger normally is on our other 3 strings. C sharp would be if we had an extended third finger. So normal third finger to reach that C natural. Now that's phrase 1 and 2. Let's put them together. Phrase 3, this is going to be call and response, so it'll be phrase 1 again. And I think that sometimes I'll leave that as just a single A there. and then attach the repeated A to the next phrase, which you're going to be seeing in just a moment. But as I mentioned, this is call and response, if you're not familiar with that. Call and response is 4 phrases. Phrase 1 is going to be your call. Phrase 2 is the first response to it. So this phrase and this phrase are different. Phrase 3 is a repeat of the call. So that means phrase 3 and phrase 1, they're going to be exactly the same. And then phrase 4 is a second, different response to the call. So 2 and 4 are different from each other. 1 and 3 are the same. So we have phrase 1 and phrase 3 that are going to be matching, and phrase 2 we know already is different. So let's put together first just those 3 phrases before we go on. And now we're ready for phrase 4. That should be familiar to you from our A part. It's a very similar ending to the second half of the A part. That again. That's A, B, C, B, C, D, C, D, A, G, F sharp, D, D. All right, now let's see if we can put together all 4 phrases. That'll give us our entire B part. One more. All right, so now we have our entire B part. Let's talk about drones and double stop options here. So droning, anytime it's an open string. Double stop is when you have 2 fingers down, so both strings are closed in some way. So to start with, I'm going to have my open A as an open drone. I like to do unisons, and so when I come to that open A note at the end of phrase 1, I'm going to drop my 4th finger down on the D string. That's also an A when I get it in tune. But there's a slightly different texture to the sound of an A played on a string that's this length versus a string that is this length. And so putting them together gives you a little bit more of a complex sound. And then phrase 2. Now here is our first double stop. It's a C chord. So I'm playing my C note on the G string, that 3rd finger, and my E note on the D string, that 1st finger. So when I go to hit the C note by itself, now I'm adding in the E. Very interesting C natural chord there. And then we're into phrase 3, which again is going to be the same as phrase 1. Another possible option if you want to sneak in one more double stop. This can be applied both to phrase 1 or to phrase 3. Rather than using your open A as your note, you can use your closed A, which is that first finger on the D string, or sorry, first finger on the G string. That's your A also. So you could play this. As you can see, it involves a little bit more of going into a drone and then coming off of a drone, because that finger is sometimes necessary on the D string. You need to have that finger ready to play there, or you're playing an open D, and so you're having to come off of playing it in the low way. So that again, though, if you want to use your low A rather than your high A. And actually, one more thing, always one more thing. I am putting my first finger to cover both the A note and the E note. So it's covering the D string and the G string together. So that way when I go and lift off that F sharp, my E is already in place and I can play it against that low A and have that low A in for just a second longer. Something like that. And then we're into our phrase 4. I think that I do often switch to doing solo notes, no drones or double stops, when I'm there on the A string. And then add in the A string as my drone when I move to the D string. Now if you want more of a drone sound, you can continue to have E as your drone note there. So let's put that whole B part together now with our drones and double stops added in. Sneaky thing there at the very end. Instead of using my E as the drone against the C, that high E, I use my low E. That first finger on the D string. Just another option. All right, you've made it 2/3 of the way through the song. We have one more section to learn, our C part, and the C part starts on a C note. Think of it as one phrase 3 times and then an ending. So it's not our call and response exactly. First phrase. So that's C, D, C, B, A, B. Same thing again. And again. Going to be played 3 times. It's very close to being played 3 times. Time 2 and 3 are going to be just slightly different. So you notice I have one more little walk back that happens. That's C, B, C, D, C, B, A, B. It's just a very small difference between phrase 1 and what we're using for phrase 2 and 3. So let's try that though and put those together. Phrase 1, 2, and 3, almost all the same, 2 and 3 slightly different. And there on phrase 3 also, we're not having our final let's do that maybe 2 more times for practice. One more time. And then we have just one more phrase to hit. We're going to have another fun run from the A. So we're starting on an A, going A, B, C sharp. So this time we're going to have a high 3rd finger, and then D. So I'm using my 4th finger so that it's all just in a line here. But remember, now at this point we're going to have C sharp instead of the C natural that we've been playing so far. Once again. And just one more time for practice. All right, so let's try and put that entire C part together. Let's talk about what we can do for drones and double stops there. Now this is kind of an interesting thing. It kind of depends on whether you want very much dissonance in the tune or not, and that might sound surprising, like who wants something to not sound in tune? But that is actually a characteristic that kind of lends itself well to old-time music, where you have just a little bit of tension, maybe a little more than you expect to hear normally. So if you want more tension, you play an open D. If you want a little less tension, then when you're hitting that C, you drop your 1st finger down and you play it on the D string. So in order to do that and still have my 1st finger available for the A note on the G string, I place my 1st finger so it covers both the G and the D. So that way I have a C chord rather than a C against a D. Finagling, because you sort of have to switch back and forth between having C chord sometime and open D chord drone at other points. You definitely want to end with that open D rather than something like that. So let's see, why don't we try it both ways once more. This way will be tension, open D the whole way. I'm going to try and do the C chord all the way through except for the very end where we're going to switch to a D. Now chances are that second option, the way we played it, is going to match more closely with the chords that your guitar player is playing. I believe that the guitar players around me in this area will play C, 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 D, D, D. That's their chord progression behind this part. All right, so we have double stops, we have drones, we have embellishments. Let's go ahead and try and put the whole tune together. I'll play it twice through. First time, just our basic melody. The second time through with all of our embellishments added in. So the roadmap here is going to be A, B, B, C, C. So 2 A parts, 2 B parts, 2 C parts.